I thoroughly enjoyed the Oscars tonight, and there were some great moments, and I will also say um, there were some misses. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is my review for the 2019 Academy Awards. And I must say, I was really impressed with this show. There were some historic moments that were made tonight, and I can honestly say I thoroughly enjoyed the show. But there were also some categories that, I wished that I will probably say I felt deserved to win. But I'm definitely going to talk about it. So, let's see. I have to say, as far as red carpet, one of the best looks tonight was Angela Bassett. She looked beautiful. I was posting it on, Facebook and Twitter. Angela Bassett looked gorgeous. She was definitely one of my favorites for the night. But there were so many countless others who really brought it on the red carpet. I thought Lady Gaga looked beautiful. She definitely gave me a reminiscence of Audrey Hepburn with her look. Also, I loved seeing Shangela and Jennifer Lewis. Shangela, is definitely one of my favorite queens from the RuPaul Drag Race family. And I'm just so proud of her success and just so proud of her moving forward and, making a major impact in the Hollywood world. So shout out to Shangela. And definitely shout out to Jennifer Lewis because love her down. And now, as far as the awards tonight, I will have to say the opening number, with Queen, Brian May, and, John Deacon and Roger Taylor, still got it. And they literally had a phenomenal performance, for the opening number. And they got one of the best vocalists to do Freddie Mercury, and I'm talking about none other than Adam Lambert. Adam Lambert sung it down, and I was here for it, and it definitely brought back a memory for me. Shout out to my big cousin, Andrew Webster, because at his Christmas party, we were all feeling good. The liquor was flowing, and when it came down to Bohemian Rhapsody, all of us, joined together and we sung the whole song down. Bohemian Rhapsody is definitely one of those, timeless classics that will never die, and it's breathed so much life into so many. And I also loved tonight that they brought back Dana Carvey and Mike Myers, who were infamous for doing Bohemian Rhapsody in Wayne's World. So pretty much Bohemian Rhapsody, they definitely had a lot of wins tonight, and they definitely made an impact on this show. And I have to say that opening number was everything, and I just said from that point on, it was going to be a good show. But I will go to say this: it would have been a better show if Kevin Hart was hosting. Some people had their feelings about Kevin Hart. I felt if Kevin Hart was there, it would have been even bigger, and it would have been even more epic. But they didn't have a host because they couldn't get anybody to replace Kevin Hart. I mean, Kevin Hart's one of the best at hosting, and I thought that him being at the Academy Awards as a host would have been amazing. But it still was a good show, even though they didn't have a host, because how were you going to replace Kevin Hart? I mean, Kevin Hart definitely is a big act, and he's great on stage, especially at award shows. He has a history of it, so it was unfortunate. But I definitely give my utmost respect to Kevin Hart for standing his ground, and I respect a man who can stand on integrity and principle. And with that being said, also shout out to Monique, a fellow Best Supporting Actress, winner for Precious. When she was talking about the integrity game with Steve Harvey, I was with her on that, because there is an integrity game that has to be followed, and a lot of times integrity gets dropped by the wayside for money. And all right, so let me also talk about some of my favorite moments, of tonight. One, the first award was given to the great Regina King for her role in the movie If Bill Street Could Talk. She won Best Supporting Actress. And I loved how she ended her speech where she said, God is good all the time. And she looked beautiful in her white. She was another highlight on the red carpet for me. And I was so happy that she, was honored tonight. And I was just really happy because there were a lot of, there was so much diversity in this award show tonight. And I loved it because art is universal. And last time I checked, there are many different colors in the crown box. So, there's so many different art from many different cultures all around the world. And I'm glad that now the Academy is starting to embrace diversity. And, one of the, highlights of tonight's show was the movie Roma, which was a Mexican foreign language film. And Roma won a lot of awards. It even, won Best Director, and even the lead actress, Yalitza Aparicio, she was nominated for Best Actress. So that was phenomenal that Mexico was celebrated. And I am a big lover and appreciative of Mexican culture and Mexican people. I even have Mexicans in my family and in my bloodline. So, and I love Mexican cuisine. I love it down. Yeah. So I was glad that Mexico was celebrated tonight. But Regina King won, for Best Supporting Actress. And another win that I literally ran up and jumped up and down was when the incomparable Ruth Carter won for Best Costume Design, and she made history as the first African American to win for Best Costume Design. And I will say they got this right. Ruth Carter should have countless Oscars because she is a phenomenal costume designer. Her first movie that she did was School Days, definitely a classic, and gives odes to HBCUs. And she thanked Spike Lee because Spike Lee gave her first opportunity. And she has done many movies. Malcolm X, What's Love Got to Do with It, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, so many, Jungle Fever, so many movies that I grew up with. Ruth Carter was creating the looks for these movies and setting the fashion trends. And I have to say, Black Panther has some phenomenal costumes and has some familiar characters, and some of these costumes have sold in the millions since the release of that movie. So I am so glad that Ruth Carter finally got her just due and was given an Oscar. And I have to say, long overdue, but I'm glad that she has made history. And we're seeing black people being awarded in other categories at the Academy Awards, where we're being seen for our intellectual and artistic capability, not just for acting. Acting is amazing, and acting is definitely a work for the intelligentsia as well. But to actually see the people who are creators, people who are originators, who are the script writers, the production crew, the costume designers, they're being celebrated, and they actually are faces of color. And I was so glad that that was celebrated tonight, because another win I want to highlight is Hannah Beachler. Hannah Beachler won for best best production design for Black Panther, and she was also the first African American to win in that category. So two phenomenal black women were history makers tonight at the Academy Awards, and I was so happy to see that. And I love seeing my people shine and seeing my people celebrated in a positive light. And if it's positive and it's great, because when we win, we all win, because it inspires us that we can also be achievers and actually be groundbreakers in our own lives. So yes, shout out to Hannah Beachler, phenomenal. And she had a great, acceptance speech. And I think she said that one thing that she said that stuck with me was she said that, if you ever question that you're good enough, if you bring your best, you are good enough. One of the best things I've ever heard. So that was definitely a highlight for me for the night. Um, yes, I definitely mentioned that. And I also love that Bohemian Rhapsody was, won a lot of categories because I'm a huge fan of Queen, and definitely Freddie Mercury is one of my inspirations, aka Farak Basara. Yeah, I know the government. So I'm a huge, fan of Freddie Mercury, and he was such a groundbreaking artist in so many ways. I mean, he was of Indian descent, he was gay, and he embraced who he was and wasn't afraid to lavish, his creativity, as being the front man of Queen. So I'm so glad that they also paid homage to Freddie Mercury in his memory. And also another highlight for me was the performance with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. I had to say it's one of the best performances of the night. It was beautiful. Also, Jennifer Hudson, I think, did a song written by Diane Warren for the movie Green Book. She did a phenomenal job as well. Loved her performance. And Lady Gaga, also, shout out to her. She won an Oscar tonight for Best Original Song. And I'm so happy that Gaga is being celebrated not only as a music artist, but also as a songwriter, and the fact that she was also nominated for the Best Actress category. And I'm gonna get to that one. Trust and believe. Hold tight. I'm on my way there. So that was definitely a highlight for me tonight. Also, another highlight for me was Spike Lee won for Best Adapted Screenplay for the movie Black Klansman. I'm a huge Spike Lee fan. And I'm actually excited that Spike Lee is being celebrated for his art, for his artistic contribution to cinema. Not just black cinema, but cinema across the board, because a lot of his movies have crossed over. And when he had his acceptance speech, he has said that, look, we're in this fight between love and hate. Do the right thing. I had to get that in there because that was the first movie he was nominated for Best Director. And Do the Right Thing is a classic, but I was definitely a fan of his even before then. School Days was it's still one of my favorite movies of all time, and I was so happy that Spike Lee was actually honored tonight for Best Adapted Screenplay. Let's see. Also, what else? Raheem Malik, who played Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody, he was awarded Best Actor. Shout out to him. He did I can't wait to see this movie. I'm a big Queens fan, and I can't wait to see Bohemian Rhapsody. But from the looks of it, he literally embodied the essence of Freddie Mercury, and I can't wait to see it. And I loved in his accession speech where he gave, he pretty much gave his honor to Queen, giving respect to the legends who made Bohemian Rhapsody possible, as well as the late Freddie Mercury. So I was so happy that Raheem Malik, as well as Bohemian Rhapsody, was represented tonight. Also, another highlight for me was when the introduction for Green Book for Best Picture, Congressman John Lewis, the civil rights activist and and politician, actually came and actually talked about racial injustice and how we need to actually change the narrative, and Green Book was a movie that was speaking to our current way of living, because even though this movie took place back in the 1950s and 60s, some of these same stigmas and issues and stereotypes are still playing in today's world, and we need to change the narrative, and we need to do it now. And I think in this awards show we proved that black is beautiful, black is excellence, black is successful, and black is just as good as anybody else. And also another highlight for me tonight was Mahershala Ali winning his second Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. He won his first one for Moonlight. Got that on DVD. Love that movie. He was phenomenal in that. I also loved him in the movie Roxanne, and I also loved him on Luke Cage. And I definitely want to see Green Book. My mother seen it. She said it was a great movie. But I'm so happy that Mahershala Ali was also celebrated tonight for his role in Green Book, and he won his second Oscar. So shout out to him. Uh, Also, somehow another thing I want to talk about is Best Actress. Now, what I saw happen, because shout out to Olivia Colman who won Best Actress, but really, it was a draw between Glenn Close and Lady Gaga, because Glenn Close has been nominated 7 times. I think her first time was for the movie Fatal Attraction, and definitely it made me think about because for those of you who watch my reviews of the Haves and the Have-Nots, I'll call the character Justin Glenn Close because he reminds me so much of the crazy that she put in that role in Fatal Attraction, and I must say it was one of her best works. But she's a legend, and it really was between the two of them, and we kind of saw the same thing happen in 1950 between Bette Davis and Gloria Swanson, and they both were neck and neck. And what happened is, because they both were so good and it was so hard to pick between the two, the votes split and they give it to a newcomer. In 1950, it was Judy Holliday for Born Yesterday. Phenomenal role though, and she did a great job. But yeah, she was the newcomer, and the two top actresses in that category, the votes split because they couldn't choose between them. And I think the same thing happened this year, because you had Lady Gaga, who was phenomenal in A Star Is Born. She's gotten rave reviews, and the same for Glenn Close in her movie The Wife. She's gotten rave reviews as well, and saying this is one of her best works to date. So the two of them were neck and neck, and Olivia Colman, won, and she definitely, gave credit to Lady Gaga as well as Glenn Close, and she's like, "I'm sorry this happened. You're a legend. I never like," and it was cute, and she was definitely even shocked and amazed. But this is the Academy. That definitely has been known to happen, where two of the best artists in the category kind of split the vote. So it was cool, but I knew exactly what happened. But yeah, I was definitely going to talk about that, because I was like, because I was rooting for either Lady Gaga or Glenn Close, because I knew Glenn Close is a legend, and she's been nominated 7 times and has never won an Oscar. So I was thinking that maybe tonight would be her night. But hey, Glenn Close is a force, and I definitely think that Glenn is definitely gonna get her moment, and she's definitely gonna get an honorary Oscar. That's going hands down. Oh yes, and speaking of honorary Oscar, let me give my utmost respect as well as honor to the great Cicely Tyson. She won an honorary Oscar this year, and I definitely love her role on How to Get Away with Murder, and definitely check out my review for that I'm going to be doing that, tonight as well. But yes, I was so happy that that Cicely Tyson finally got that honor, because she has a legendary career, and she has been a major force within Black art, the Black community, as well as mainstream art. She's just a phenomenal talent. She's a gem, and this woman is in her 90s and she's still killing the game. So yes, that's a queen, and that's why I give my utmost honor to her. So I was glad that they recognized her tonight, even though she got the award months ago. But they did, mention her tonight, and I was glad that they did. Let's see. Oh yes, Best Director, and Best Director actually went to Alfonso Cuarón for the movie Roma, and Roma definitely made a lot of wins, and it was cool that this is a foreign language film and it's gotten such mainstream appeal. So I definitely want to see Roma, and from the looks of it, the cinematography and the acting looks amazing, and even though it's in Spanish, I want to see this film. Like, the Academy has turned me on to this movie Roma. Like, I want to see this film because it really looks like a true great piece of work. And let's see, Best Picture ended up going to Green Book. Now, for me, I was rooting for Black Panther, because if Black Panther would have won, it would have been the first action superhero film to win a Best Picture, and win a Best Picture Oscar, I mean. So, and then also the Black Klansman by Spike Lee was also nominated. And so yeah, but I've heard that Green Book was a good film, so I can't wait to actually watch that. But I was rooting for Black Panther, and hey, it is what it is. but hey, you know, hey, it was a great movie that, you know, Octavia Spencer and Mahershala Ali were a part of the cast. So I definitely want to see this film, and it's a film that I think really speaks to our times right now, where there's a lot of racial tension, there's a lot of civil unrest, and we just need to really understand that, look, we are who we are, you are who you are, we're different, but we're just as important, we're just as vital, and we deserve just as much as respect, and just as much of acceptance as you. It's really about understanding, you know, human development as well as racial equality, and understanding what that means. So I definitely look forward to checking out the Green Book, and I'm glad that, you know, it was also recognized, you know, tonight at the Oscars. And again, shout out to Mahershala Ali for his second Oscar win. So that's what I have, y'all. If y'all have some highlights from the night, get down in those comments. Let me know what you thought. Let me know some of your favorite moments, or let me know some of the moments that pissed you off. You know, I definitely want to hear from you. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I really enjoyed this show tonight. And so until next time, everybody, take care.